pad is compressible, so the skin fold should not be shaken nor pulled out to meet the calipers. Open the caliper jaws fully and apply them at a right angle to the skin fold. The child stands unassisted or sits on the mother's lap with the left arm hanging relaxed at the side. Pick up the skin fold about 1 centimeter above the midpoint mark over the triceps muscle. The fold should run downwards along the midline of the back of the upper arm. Apply the caliper jaws to the skin fold at a right angle over the midpoint. Without releasing the skin fold, gently release the lever on the caliper handpiece. Wait 2 seconds and take the reading to the last completed 0.2 millimeters. Pick up the skin fold 1 centimeter above the midpoint. Apply the caliper at a right angle over the mark. Release the lever and wait 2 seconds. Take the reading to the last completed 0.2 millimeters. Gently push back and relax the child's shoulders with the child's back straight. Stand behind the child and palpate the back to locate the lower triangular tip of the shoulder blade. Put a mark over this site. Gently pick up the skin fold 1 centimeter above and medial to this mark. Apply the caliper jaws at a right angle over the mark without releasing the skin fold. The fold should run diagonally down towards the left elbow. Apply the caliper jaws at a right angle over the mark without releasing the skin fold. Wait 2 seconds and take the reading. Locate and mark the lower tip of the left subscapular. Pick up the skin fold 1 centimeter above and medial to the mark. Apply the caliper at a right angle over the mark. Release the lever and wait 2 seconds. Record the reading to the last completed 0.2 millimeters. Several quality control mechanisms were built into the growth reference study protocol. Before the study began, field workers at each site were trained and standardized to measure anthropometry. These standardization sessions were repeated every 2 months throughout the study. The sessions also helped to identify problems and take immediate corrective action, such as retraining if needed. Site visits were made yearly to ensure that the measurement procedures and techniques were standardized. All measurements were taken and recorded independently by 2 observers. One observer took all the measurements and recorded the values. Then the observers changed roles and the other observer repeated the same measurements and recorded his or her values. The 2 observers then compared their results. If the pairs of values fell within the allowable differences for that measure, no repeat measurements were needed. If any pair of values exceeded the allowable difference for a given measurement, each observer took a second independent reading, then compared the results. In this example, the difference in head circumference was more than 5.0 millimeters, so the 2 observers each had to repeat the head circumference measurement. Large differences between 2 observers' measurements could be the result of a faulty instrument, an uncooperative child, differences in the way 2 observers take measurements, and/or reading or recording incorrect values. It is important to use high-quality anthropometric instruments and necessary to use great care during transportation and storage. The instruments need to be assembled correctly and calibrated regularly. Move the footboard as far as it can go towards the fixed board. Compare the reading on the counter to the minimum value indicated on the board. Mark the minimum point on the calibration form. Place a calibration rod of known length along the middle of the vertical board of the infantometer and hold it straight. Move the footboard to touch the end of the rod and take the reading. Mark it on the calibration form. This process is repeated with each different length of calibration rod, and the reading is recorded. Length and height measuring equipments are non-calibrated if they are 3 millimeters off the mark. If the digital counter gives a clearly inaccurate reading, use a magnetic screwdriver to unfasten the screws that hold the counter in position. Slide the counter out of its case. Move the headboard to the lowest point along the horizontal board. Adjust the reading on the counter manually to the minimum indication on the instrument and turn the counter to the correct reading. Double check that the reading is accurate and screw the counter down firmly.